doing my best Ian impression. Player Fest 98. I'm one of your hosts, Ashley K. Smalls, Dr. Ashley K. Smalls, depending on the day and how I'm feeling. And we, of course, you're already familiar with reintroduce yourself. You know, they're always forgetting your name.
And I'm Ian Carlos Crawford. Ashley, don't ever leave off the doctor. You got to make sure you have that shit everywhere. We're here to talk X-Men 97, Season 2, Episode 5, and we have two very special guests. She is an award-winning artist, activist, media personality, and philanthropic strategist to thousands and known to thousands as the People's Auntie.
I'm Dominique Morgan, super excited to be here tonight.
And he is writer, comedian, stars on Loot and The Scrubs Revival, and is the fastest email replier I have ever emailed with.
I'm Joel Kim Booster, and I'm an inbox zero always person.
Joel, you and Julie Benz are the two people that I email with that you both email faster than, like, you reply faster than I can reply. And I'm like, oh shit. It's always impressive when people are like that because I'm not the fastest. We're going to talk episode 5. Ashley, this is the first time you've been co-hosting for X-Men as well. What have you, I'm curious, give us your thoughts on what you've thought so far of the series.
I just want to say a personal apology to my friends, whoever had to watch me chase a man the way Morph was chasing Wolverine. Um, I get it. I feel you. Your restraint and not smacking the shit out of me was phenomenal. It was great. You guys are really, really good friends. I was screaming at my TV screen. So I just want to start this off by saying that, like, I love you guys so much because I put y'all through the ringer. I was watching that shit like, God damn, he was down bad. But yeah, that was mostly my thoughts.
And yeah, but you've been liking the season overall?
Oh yeah, no, like I think I was saying before, when we started, like I do think that they have a much better start, even dare I say, because once you start hyping up something Marvel, and you're like, yeah, this is going great, and then in a second, it's like, oh, I don't like how this is ending. But I
Yeah.
think that it has an even stronger start than last season, which I 100% love. I really loved the comic book feel and nature of everything of us splitting things up. We're following one half of the X-Men and then we're following the other half of the X-Men. I love the switch up with X Factor and for the theme song. And then even with this episode now we're focused on a smaller faction of mutants. I think it's just a reminder of the fact that one of my critiques with the movies is easy to feel like your average mutant is just someone who can control weather, somebody with these
Yeah.
phenomenal powers, and sometimes it's someone not so much on that level. Like even seeing like the younger mutants in the last episode trying to like find a safe haven in
Yeah. Into, yeah.
Professor X's house, like stuff like that. I really love us seeing these different factions of what like the world looks like with mutants in it. And I really love how they're splitting it up so we're not just focused on like one or two characters. So I'm enjoying the season so far.
Joel, what about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the season so far as well. I agree that I think the start was pretty strong. I do think it feels a little bit more disjointed, and I think that's probably a feature, not a bug. And so it's basically going to come down to taste and what you're yearning for out of a show like this.
That's
My
true.
only worry with the splitting up of the stories is, back in the day, they had 22 episodes per season, 24
Yeah.
episodes per season. They had a lot more narrative real estate to get away with, spending a little bit more concentrated time with specific groups. And I'm just a little worried that, is it 10 or 12 that we have this season? Do
I
you
think
know?
it's 9.
9. I mean, I'm just worried that they won't be able to close the loop on all of these stories in a super satisfying way with that little real estate narratively, but I have faith.
Dominique?
I feel the same way about the timepiece in kind of a stratified way. One, it feels like even with episode 5, the poignant moments, if it had more room to breathe, it would have. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can dig in and you can catch the things, it's awesome. But
Yeah.
for folks who I think something that I've enjoyed about this season and last season is that as an adult, I'm 44. Like I remember like how you kind of compare these things to your youth and how you can pull
Yeah.
out the real life experiences. I think for some folks they need a little more slower pacing to catch into the things. Do you know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I'm concerned at how much they're trying to put into an episode, and I'm concerned with how quickly the season will be over. And I just wonder, why haven't they thought to put a little more resources behind making this a bit more of a traditionally accessible kind of component of the way that Marvel can engage with the fandom, especially thinking you can do so much more in this medium compared to trying to do a series or something else. This could be the binder space, and they could give us more opportunity to engage at multiple levels.
You know what? I was thinking about that with this episode in particular. I was like, do people who don't read the comics or didn't watch a cartoon, or do they like know what the fuck is going on? Because there's so much history behind it. I mean, I love it, but I'm surprised. The Marvel movies get the complaint, and sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. They're like, oh, you need to do homework. Well, this you do need to know. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like you do. I love it because of that. And like all of us, watch the cartoon as kids. So it's like, yeah, I'm 43. So like I had a lot of years of like absorbing all this shit. But I have been wondering, is like a casual viewer or someone who's never watched the cartoon as a kid, like someone who's like 20, who wasn't around when that was on, are they still enjoying it?
If you're neurotypical, you're fucked watching this. you, you got to have the ADHD spirit of watching the Easter egg. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's so much, you're not realizing. Oh, they recreated a scene from the original, but they added another body. We didn't see the lady, and I love that. But my friends who are even actors who are like, oh my God, one of my best friends, she's like, I want to be in a movie. I was like, bitch, you got to dig in, because these fanboys will rip you apart if you don't know your shit. And I send her the thing and she's like, I don't get it. I'm like, no, you got to watch this, and this. Yeah. And so even a syllabus, can they release a syllabus or something to support the speed in which they're giving us this goodness?
Well, I think that's like kind of the biggest issue I have with this episode that we're talking about today, is that not only does it require a little bit of knowledge, even like I think this show and what Bo has done in season 1 and 2 is really pulled from the comic books as well. Yeah, and so that's like a whole other thing that you can dig into and find Easter eggs in these episodes. But for me, if you don't read the comics, I found this episode to be so out of character for the Wolverine that I am familiar with, the Wolverine that we've seen in the show. And I found and I guess it's forgivable for me because I am coming into it with a lot of pre-knowledge, prerequisite knowledge. But if you're a casual viewer, I wonder what your takeaway is about this character at this point.
Because Wolverine's kind of he's always a grump, but it felt like he was like a straight up dick.
He's not a liar, and he's not somebody who would take advantage of somebody to get what he wants, and it felt sort of strange watching it, because this is the first episode too in the season where I feel like I didn't learn anything about any of these people ultimately.
I feel like, and I appreciate it. It felt almost like this was like Morph's arc of like him maybe, or I'm not sure if in the cartoon, do they use they or him for Morph?
They use they them.
Oh, they do? Okay. Thank you. So I feel like they needed to get over Wolverine, and this was them being like we all need a Lady Deathstrike who's like, girl. And that's what she was doing with Morph this episode. And I felt it's weird that the Wolverine episode progressed Morph's story, because other than Wolverine gets his adamantium, there wasn't any, and we didn't even, I don't know, it happened so fast. It was like, oh, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It was definitely a bridge episode of we got to make sense of why we have to give Wolverine his claws back. How do we do that?
Yeah.
And so it can't just be some random moment in another episode. So we need to make it a whole arc. And then also in terms of Wolverine's arc, last season did end with this little bit of a hint towards his relationship with Morph. Obviously Jean and Cyclops' story was centered on their son, Cable. And I remember we got that end scene between Morph and Wolverine when Morph literally morphs into Sabretooth to give Wolverine a distraction from the fact that he's heartbroken and stuff like that. So I guess they wanted to see us get Morph's heartbroken, as well as here's Wolverine with his claws back, because right now he's kind of poking people with his bones and it's not doing much of anything, so he feels useless. And I do think to an earlier point of still to this day, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is still one that for the casual viewing audience, that is who they think of first.
Yeah.
And I do think that this Wolverine played a bit into the character of like the Logan that, as they kind of were alluding to on the ship of like before he became an X-Man and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's still out of character cartoon wise because in the 92 series, excuse me, in the 92 series, Wolverine punches the hell out of Cyclops for leaving Morph behind. So
Yeah,
he's
like
not
he's pissed.
someone
Yeah.
who's about to let someone die so he can get his claws back. So it's
Yeah.
still a bit out of character for this animated one, but I would say it's really out of character for the casual viewing audience who's thinking of Hugh Jackman too. So it's like I am wondering like the casual viewer who's like animated Hugh Jackman. Well, that don't look like no something Hugh Jackman would do.
Do you know what it's like to have like a bunch of random ingredients and you've got to get some things on the table? That's what it felt like. And I in a situation where no matter what you made, it wasn't going to be bad, but
Right.
but it made, Egypt to get to Rome, right? I don't think they were going to circle back to Apocalypse for Apocalypse to be the one to get Wolverine with his adamantium, like
Yeah.
they did in the comic book, because they wanted to let that breathe. I think that I still feel like I don't completely understand the behind the scenes shenanigans of all the things with the creators and everything. And a part of me wondered, and I made a post yesterday where I was like, especially with Morph being a trans character, and I literally was like, this is the most real trans story I've seen in a situation, because you literally can be anything you want to be, and you're trying to be whatever this man wants you, and this man could care less.
Yeah.
And I was comfortable. I realized as y'all were talking, I was comfortable with trading maybe Wolverine being the worst version of himself we haven't seen in order to really tell, because it feels like they're going to pull back from it. It feels like we've put this to bed and this is going to be a dead thing, in order to kind of give people who are watching a real semblance of this is what it's like. Like a man will push you to the point where you're fighting demons in the darkness thing, and right, and you've taken a picture of his favorite girl down to your surgeon, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's what the girls are going through, and you have to gag a bit. Also, I also will say that I think in the live action, because I rewatched the first X-Men movie like 3 times this week, because I was just like someplace and watching it. I feel like Hugh Jackman always tries to signal to Wolverine being a person who just didn't give a fuck, but it never reached the apex. So while this felt like they went far past the line, I kind of I kind of didn't hate it, if that makes sense. Like I kind of felt like we laid bare finally kind of all the rawness it would take to go through the abuse of the body autonomy, the number of people he has lost, and I think his clause in that form is like the longest relationship he's had, the healthiest relationship he's had, and like what do you do when you're trying to get the only thing back that makes you feel like you, but also the thing that literally attacks your body every day.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate that perspective, because it's not one that I was thinking heavily about while watching it, and it does reframe a lot of what the episode means to me now, I guess. But
Yeah.
for me too, I just don't love it when we sacrifice character development for plot development. And I feel like there are so many moments like they allude to history between Lady Deathstrike and Wolverine, but we never really feel it. We obviously know that Sabretooth is a sworn enemy, and yet here he is helping him in some way, and we don't ever really get the sense of like how that came to happen. And there's not room. I get there's not room for it, but it just felt like sort of it flattened a lot of the character development and the characters that we know and the relationships that we know in order to focus on, the important plot machinations that they need to get to move the story forward.
Yeah, I mean, even when they were in the helicopter, I just assumed that Morph knew they were all going, like, I was like, oh yeah, they're going to the facility, but like maybe Sabretooth and the other folks don't know, but Morph knows it's to get his adamantium back. Like I just assumed that Morph was in on the adamantium of it all. So I don't know why. Well, I feel like Morph would have been down if Wolverine was like, do you want to help me? I'm gonna like assemble this team. I want to get my adamantium back. I feel like Morph would have been like, okay, right? Like I feel like they still would have gone, and he could have been honest with Morph. Without, I don't know. Yeah, the lying of
But
it
the
all.
trade ain't never gonna be. But the trade ain't never gonna be honest, Ian.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Because if the trade is honest and you do it, something happens, then it's, oh, well, I didn't ask you to do it. They always want to be able to pull out, You know what I'm saying? You chose to come. Listen, I may have went too far down this rabbit hole.
No, you're
but
right.
it was a episode of 90 Day Fiance and Love After Lockup if I've ever seen one in comic book form.
Uh, my mother used to make me watch that with her when I was taking care of her. She'd be like, come sit in bed with me. Let's watch 90 Day Fiance. Those people are nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So in the helicopter, I do like that Morph does a little bit of recapping to your point, Joel, but like I was wondering how we got to Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike being like, yes, I will come with you. Maverick and the other dude, sure. But I was a little like, but the cartoon, I don't know that there was ever a moment that they would have worked together. Also, I do think sometimes in the previously on, we need scenes from the 92 cartoon to
Totally.
jog our memories. I wonder if it's like they're not allowed to, or I don't know, right?
I mean, they have it on Disney Plus, so they gotta have the right to it. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on over there. I really don't. But I do agree with that. Like, you can't have this cohesive story that's supposed to build up on this one and then also just never revisit these things that are supposed to tie into what we're seeing happen now.
Yeah. And I gotta point out, I don't know, Dominique, we are of the same age. The Kane character, I was like, I had that action figure. I remember having that action figure, not knowing who the fuck that was. It was just like a cool dude action figure because they put out the weirdest characters when we were kids.
Yeah.
So what is it? Then we crash pretty immediately. Kane dies. No one seems upset that Kane is dead.
Right. They didn't even mourn him. I wasn't even sure if he was.
Yeah, it was so strange. You'd think Maverick at least would be upset by that. I kept waiting for Maverick to realize this, and because they seem to be sort of a pair, but also very clearly cannon fodder if I've ever seen characters that were meant to die more.
I did like that Kane was very extreme because he was created by Rob Liefeld. That feels appropriate for him to be like, yeah, guns, and like more cartoony. But yeah, it was just like, well, he's dead. Okay. I almost would have preferred it if we kept him to die in the facility when we're doing the horror movie, like alien thing stuff. They fight a bear that I assumed was Weapon X morphed, but no, it was infected by the Brood. I'm curious what you all thought of the horror aspect, because I was like, oh, they're kind of doing Alien Romulus, and then it was like, oh, they're kind of doing The Thing. I was into it because season 1 had a lot of horror influences in it as well. So I'm like very into a little mingling of my like superhero and horror shit.
I thought it was fab. But I just wanted to like give us the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, don't rush us through it. If you're gonna give us horror, give us the silent moment. We don't know who's right there. You've got you know what I'm saying? You've got all these various individuals who in some way, shape, or form outside, well, even in Morph at one time, they've been the villain in some way, shape, or form, right? True. And then you have them fighting against this entity. I just felt like there could have been some great ways to play with our minds. Even at that point, there could have been a nasty cliffhanger moment. You know what I'm saying? Like this, how they used to leave us on a cliffhanger, like who is what's happening, what's going on, because of how cinematic it felt in this kind of horror movie, my God, what's happening way.
Yeah. Joel, what'd you think?
I really appreciate, obviously, all these nods to classic X-Men villains are really fun. I was excited to see the Brood. I didn't find it very suspenseful. I think for the same reasons Dominique was just talking about, is that they didn't let the moments breathe. They didn't let them, they didn't have I guess, like the guts to really push it and go there with the horror in a lot of ways. Now, I loved a lot of what we got out of the Brood. Like Brood Wolverine was so cool. Like 9-year-old me was flipping out watching Brood Wolverine run around like that. But again, like I agree. I think that this just needed a little bit more space to breathe in order for it to be really effective as a horror piece. And it's so strange. Again, like this is a streaming show. They have leeway. It doesn't have to be 22 minutes in the way that the 92 show did.
That's what I was just about to say. I don't know why they keep
use some of that space.
Yeah. It feels like, okay, make it 40 minutes. Make it an hour. Okay, I don't care. No one would be upset at that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking for this. So Lady Deathstrike refers to Morph as Tomo, and then later explains that Tomo is like a loyal shapeshifter. I really like that Lady Deathstrike played. She's a villain, but she also is like she doesn't want Morph hung up on Wolverine because it's almost because like she hates Wolverine, right? And she's like, don't get hung up on that piece of shit. And I feel like, especially as queer folks, it's like that strong woman who is very like, this is what it is. I don't give a shit. I'm like, oh yeah, I would also be like drawn to Lady Deathstrike too. I'd be like, yes, tell me what to do. Tell me this man is not good for me. I will listen to you over everyone else. And I've liked her as that character. Also, Joel, I kept thinking of you because I remembered when you were on for season 1 and you told me about meeting Kelly. Is it Kelly Hu?
Kelly Hu, yeah. I could not stop thinking about one of the best cinematic fight scenes in a superhero movie ever, which is Hugh Jackman versus Kelly Hu in the X2 movie. That one of the best choreographed like Wolverine fights I think we've ever seen live action. And I love the character from the show too. I remember being so fascinated with this woman with her crazy long, sharp fingers. And it definitely was an early moment of diva worship for me. And I was glad to get another side of her. Like it felt like, that guy's ex coming up to you at the party being like, listen, girl, like, this is not it. He is not it. Like, trust me from someone who's been there. You don't want to go down that road.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she's a perfect example of when the guy has driven you crazy and then he's like, why are you acting crazy? Like, I don't see her as a villain. Like, you are at the root cause and you're lucky I'm fucking here. Like, you're lucky I'm here. And very much gave, I've told this story before, like, the mother of my ex-husband's son, once me and my ex-husband divorced, her and I became friends. Because it's always this moment where you just realize, like, no, he was the problem.
Yeah.
And so I really did love that because it was like it's not just your homegirl, like I'm the outcome.
Yeah.
Waiting for him. And we know there were variables at play where he, everything wasn't under his control. And also, like, I went so far to where I got these claws and now I'm walking around fucking everybody up. Baby, don't be that. And I lived for that moment.
Yeah, and I appreciated that it almost felt like she wanted Morph to come with her on purpose so she could do that, right?
She said the thing about like two X-Men can't go off together.
Yeah.
And I was like, first I was like, okay, I guess I get that. Like, it's not really a situation. Like, these aren't a group of people who are trustworthy. So I get that a bit. But then I did when she gave the lore behind the story and like she ended it with, it didn't work out for this character. And that was honestly, I'm so oblivious sometimes when I watch shows. I'm just so into it with my popcorn or my ice cream, and I don't understand what's going on. And like they were hitting us upside the head with the fact that like Logan is not going to be shit in this episode. Be telling you right now.
Yeah.
And like that was when it hit me. I was like, oh, he's about to play Morph. Yeah, he about to. I think, and that's when it really hit me. Of like he brought a bunch of people together who he considers to be expendable. His ex-girlfriend, his art nemesis. He brought a bunch of people together that he really maybe at one point did, but he does not care for anymore. But we may not have realized that because the Morph is there. So he wouldn't do that to Morph. And it wasn't until that line I was like, oh, but what if very much Morph is one of those people? And that was when I realized like, oh, yeah, it's like I dated him before. I know what he does. I know you don't want to listen to me and you're going to have to learn for yourself, but I'm going to do my best to give you a heads up just in case common sense can get you a little bit faster because I wish someone would have told me. And yeah. Like I said, thank you.
Patriarchy manifested in this episode. Like he was like the episodes with Apocalypse, I had said like I had really thought about like white supremacy and thinking about race and culture. As I'm sitting here listening to you talk, Dr. Smalls, it hit me where it was like the way that he shows up, like it, in some instances, Sabretooth is his brother. Like there's all these people who you have relationships with, and they're to serve you, which is really how the patriarchy moves. And I and I don't know, like I wish the writers would talk more, because are they trying to use every episode to give us some kind of semblance of these
Yeah.
characters representing systems and larger things in our society outside of, the way we talk about queerness and other things we feel like they represent? Because that's how patriarchy moves. Y'all are like connected to me. I need y'all here. You may be sacrificed, but I really am prioritizing these claws and what that means for me. And you should prioritize it too. Don't get mad that I tried to risk your life. Like, you should be happy I got my things back, because what was the line? He was like, I'm not like that. Morph, like, how it was so casual, where I just wanted to hit him in the back of the head so
Right.
bad.
Yeah, I was
That
like,
whole-
you're
Well, I
not
think
you're not like what? Like you don't have feelings? Like
And Morph ate that. Does that make you sad, Wolverine?
yeah.
Because that makes me sad.
Dude.
Morph ate that so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm like, Morph, where the hell were you when I needed to tell my ex off? Where the fuck were you? Because I'm like, Wolverine needed to hear that, and he's so stubborn and hard-headed, of course, it still won't reside with him. But
Yeah.
like he'll never be able to say nobody told him. And it's like still doesn't, I mean, outside the fact that it's never gonna work with Jean because she's fucking married and she's, in love with someone else. But it's also just like, look at you and like look at like you won't even allow yourself to evolve for all the ways that you look at getting these claws back without the adamantium as if like you've regressed. What it really shows is you are so scared of what if I can't do the thing that people expect of me. You wouldn't have even entertained the idea of, hey, this thing was hurting you. What if this is your second chance? He was like, absolutely not. All you motherfuckers get on this helicopter right now. I don't care if you die. I got to get this adamantium back in my body right now.
Well, to speak to what Dominique was talking about too, I think it's what we all, especially as queer people, love about the X-Men in general is that it is so our ability to sort of project our own and insert our own experiences and see them reflected back to us in these stories, through the allegory of being a mutant and being different and being, ostracized, is why I think we're so drawn to these characters in this story.
Yeah.
And I think like this is an episode where I think they sort of put too much of the labor on us to, see some of those allegories for ourselves rather than, maybe build it a little bit more into the storytelling.
Yeah, I was thinking when I was watching, like, it felt like a hat on a hat where it's like, we got the Brood, we got the facility, oh, we got the double cross, oh, we got the Morph relationship. And it was like,
we got Omega Red.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what was
Omega
that?
Red. And like, we saw him last season with like Darkstar and the Red Guard and whatever. So I was like, but how the fuck did he get here? And we also didn't need him. Like, that felt like we already had too many things, and that felt like definitely too many things. Because we absolutely could have gotten to that end without him, I felt like. I'm wondering if they were setting him up for something later. But so they meet the doctor. The doctor, this was also too fast. The doctor so quickly is like, oh, I knew you guys would come. Oh, look, I'm an alien. And thus getting rid of the like, ooh, we're here to kill the doctor fake plot. And that was like too fast, I thought.
I mean, I think it goes back to the point earlier that I think basically everyone made in terms of the element that this was missing in terms of horror. Like it, used a lot of goriness and things like that, but like it was missing suspense. And so like that's one of those good examples of I would have been so gagged if like we had gotten more time with this doctor and it really had been this interaction and exchange of them figuring out who's the strongest one, whose body that they would want to take over. And then the next thing we know, this doctor is basically dissolving in front of us. And instead we got the doctor for all of like 5 minutes. Like that suspense would have really, taken us from this relaxed state of like, okay, I feel like something's about to happen, but I don't know what it is yet, to like, oh shit, like the energy has completely shifted. We got that energy for like 5 minutes before we went into bodies getting dragged and everybody and people dropping off.
Yeah. So whatever, the aliens start attacking, they escape that room. Wolverine mentions, which I did remember, I've smelled something like this before, but this is different, because I always thought of this. I don't know why this episode stuck with me, because I always hated it as a kid when they had, I don't know if y'all remember, there was the episode of the original series where it was like the Brood, but not the Brood. And it was like these weird aliens, because apparently they weren't allowed to use the Brood, so it was too much like the Xenomorphs. but they based but it was like just the aliens looked like them. So I'm pretty sure that's what that was referencing. And I appreciated, getting one of the references because sometimes this makes me feel like I've never read an X-Men comic book or watched the cartoon because my memory, speaking to ADHD brain, Dominique, my brain is like, did I see this? I don't know. And then I look up and then I forget. And then they split up. Morph, Sabretooth, and Deathstrike go to they find a room with all these DVDs. I did like all the little Easter eggs, seeing all the names and stuff. I was like, ooh, ooh, checking out all the names. I wrote down some of them. There was more than what I wrote down. We see Winter Soldier, Aurora, X-23, Silver Fox, Gamora, Sluggo, Marrow, Worm, Phantom X, and a couple others on the DVDs. I like when they do that. I don't know. What do you all think when they do those little Easter eggs? Do you think it's corny or do you like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
I just wish that because I don't know if they've done it with the animated series, but the other shows on Disney Plus, that will be the QR codes, there'll be these ambient things that you can tap into. I'm connect it to if you're gonna give the girls a nerdy space to roost, really give the girls a thing. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm like. Well, where do we go from here?
Yeah, Joel.
No, I always really appreciate it. I think it adds a really fun texture to the show, for people like us who are, in the trenches, with all of these references and know who Marrow is,
Yeah.
And, I think I wonder though, is the Weapon X program in the cartoon based on Grant Morrison's depiction of it, where it was Weapon 1, Weapon 2, and then Wolverine was the 10th project? Or have we not established that at all?
I can't remember, honestly. Ashley, do you know?
I'm disappointed in myself to say this is probably, I can't remember distinctly what the animated series decided to go with. I want to, the name of what was the name of the episode though? Wasn't it, because they had DVDs in the episode
Weapon
title.
X lies in video and
That's why I'm
DVDs
it may very well be. I think if we maybe use the title of the episode as a hint, it might be.
I think the title of the episode, and then when he cut out of the tube, once he had the animanium back, I know people thought the X was just for X-Men, but he made the X sign, the 10 sign to break out of the tube. And I kind of thought that was a call to what you were saying, Joel. I am Weapon X, and that's where I fall in the order of things.
Yeah. I honestly, I was a little bit wait, Winter Soldier, does that make sense? But I also don't care. I'm it's a fun thing. I saw Winter Soldier's name. Sure. I like Bucky. They play one of the discs. We see that Maggot was one of the first experiments. I was oh, cute, Maggot. Oh, he's dead. I was surprised. And I was surprised in season 1 as well, but I'm still surprised it feels like this season's even gorier. The death and gore we saw. It's still not crazy, but for a Disney cartoon, right?
It really doesn't feel like they are aiming this show squarely at people who are our age. It feels or slightly younger. It does not feel like the show is trying to court a new young audience because it's so esoteric in parts and because it is so dense with references that you have to remember from the 92 series or the comic books or some other X-Men lore. It really does feel and this especially because of the gore and the violence in it, really felt they're not interested in trying to get a new audience of X-Men lovers with this show as much as they're trying to satisfy and satiate people like us who loved the original and loved the X-Men and have for years and years.
But you know what is weird though? So I teach freshman writing. The only superhero shit that my students talk about are Invincible and X-Men 97. That I did an assignment that was commercials, and you had to say who was the voice of authority. It's always a celebrity speaker, right? Hugh Jackman had a coffee brand. That was one of the commercials I used. No one in my class knew who Hugh Jackman was. They were I don't know who that is. I was
I would feel everybody.
He's played Wolverine for 100 years, and they were all oh, I don't watch superhero stuff. And I was
but class gets a 0
he's
now.
very famous. But yeah, I've had I think last year I had a student that was oh, X-Men 97 has made me want to read the comics. Is there any recommendations you have? And I was and I was elated to give him a million recommendations. And so it has been weird to see that like the like younger folks they don't really like the movies, but this and Invincible are the only shit I've heard them talk about that
I mean,
I'm
it's
like,
funny. On that note, like my students, I mean, we haven't gotten to extreme that they don't know who Hugh Jackman is, child. Because you didn't have a heart attack in the class.
Open the schools. Open the schools.
But like, I did start to shift in terms of my media examples to more anime, and I think that like it's
Yeah.
interesting that you still brought up animated examples, and I'm like wondering also if there's a relationship there of like if they are willing to give more work attention, Western work, then it still has to be animation. I wonder if there's any link there because I mean, as you can see, like I made like basically a complete shift, even research area wise, to more anime because my students were like, "Yeah, you showing us Marvel movies," and that was when one had to tell me, "You do know that the first movie came out when I was like 3, right?" And I was like, "Get out of my classroom."
How old are your students, both of you? Just
I
so
teach
point of
college.
reference. To college.
we
Okay.
we both teach college. I teach freshman writing, so usually like 18, 19.
Okay. So like they still are 18. They're not like
Yeah.
young
But also,
children.
I'm thinking about like I used to watch movies on FX so that I missed in theaters and or like, movies that came out before I was of an age where I could go by myself. I could watch them all, they would
Yeah.
come up on a cable channel and I just watch it there, whereas they're picking what they want to watch. So it's
Right.
like they
Yeah.
stream the 3 things that they like and they don't have to go out of their way to watch anything else. And that has created a bit of a hard problem for us media professors, but we're pushing through.
And you are right. I get asked a lot. They'll think that I like anime because of like the stickers on the back of my computer. And like I will get, but I'm not a manga or anime girly. So I'm always like, I don't know.
I'll get you in a
But
gojo, don't you worry.
all right.
You also can't bootleg this. Like, and I say that because like you have to pay for this platform.
Mhm.
And if they're not interested in anything else, I think that's something I always think about when I'm just telling not only young people, my friends, I'm like, hey, you should get into the thing. And they're like, girl, I'm not about to pay for Disney
Yeah.
Plus because who knows what's going
Exactly.
on. And with anime and other things, there's different apps. They can,
Yep.
other
That's
content
true.
creators that can watch it. This is kind of there's a capitalist kind of blockade there with this to where you have to really be interested to prioritize it as something you pay
Yeah,
for.
that's true. You're right. A lot of times when I recommend a show, but also I am, we all grew up in the Napster, LimeWire generation. I am very good at finding the things elsewhere if I don't have the platform. And whenever I recommend a show and people are like, oh, what's it on? I'm like, yeah, but who cares? I don't have that platform either. You can find it. Not that I recommend doing that because
I was gonna
that's,
say,
yeah,
oh,
of
Ian,
course.
All right.
Ian
They
said we
coming for
pushing.
you.
All
The
right, I was
full
like, all
force of
right.
Disney Legal is going to come down on your
Okay.
head, sir.
I'm gonna come right during this recording.
Kevin Feige is about to call you right the
I
fuck now.
know.
It's over for you.
So Maverick calls for help. They go to find Maverick. Sabretooth was giving a little bit of like chaotic bisexual energy, right? When he was like, don't worry, I'll protect you, sweetheart, to Morph. And I was like, it almost feels like Sabretooth would fuck Morph to try to like stick it to Wolverine somehow.
Yeah.
And Morph should absolutely let him at this point because
As someone who fucked both of my ex-husband's brothers when he cheated on me, I've told this story before. Joe, he had a baby on me. Fix your face. He had a baby on me. He had a baby. Listen, I've seen the Fire Island movie. I know how you get down, friend. Listen, he cheated on me, had a whole baby on me, and I, in fact, had sex with both of his brothers. And one of them, whenever it comes upon me and I need to top off my healing, we've been divorced since 2018, I circle the block. And I literally, as that man spread that Sabretooth had when he was sitting there, I was like, oh, as soon as Wolverine played, me and Sabretooth would have been fucking on the ride home. That's what Wolverine would have heard. Soon as I said, think about yourself, get your shit together, he would have heard us wearing it out back there. No shade.
I please do not misunderstand any of my faces. They were all admiration.
Receive it.
Yeah.
Receive it.
That is a fantastic story. Yes, no, I think Morph, I was like, Morph, he's like kind of in your wheelhouse of type. Like, I'm bigger.
did you like animalistic? I mean,
Right.
let's go.
Yeah. Poor Maverick calls for help and gets killed pretty brutally. I was kind of surprised. And I almost felt like Oh, okay. It felt like his death was kind of like Kane's, where it's like, oh, okay, he's dead now, whatever.
I'll be honest, I think I looked down at my phone briefly, and by the time I looked up, he was dead, and I had to rewind because like, it was that quick. Like,
There was a second when I was like, oh, but does Maverick have a healing factor too? Is he fine? And no, does not.
It was,
He was
you know,
dead.
also this goes back to why like the main critique of like no suspense, because they also had him on the like walkie-talkie, like, we need help. So it was like so predictable. I'm like, all right, we about to get there, and either he already gonna be dead
That's what I
or
thought. Yeah.
like
That is the
he's
person
on his
that's
way.
dying in the horror movie. Yeah. Um, Sabretooth, we're going with the aliens and the thing theme. Sabretooth gets the flamethrower, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't put in my notes, but I think I think I mixed up the timeline. Is it before or after that he blows up? It's
I
around
think
then.
after. I think
Okay.
after. Well,
Okay.
just really quickly about Maverick too, is that one thing that was missing from this sort of body horror of the brood taking over your body that you see in a lot of movies is that moment of Maverick being like, no, 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 don't kill me just because I'm about to explode with a brood. Like, please, and that sort of like the internal struggle of like, you got to kill this guy because he's infected, but like
Right.
he's also not like there yet. And that's like a really, I think, one of the most kind of horrific elements of these kinds of stories in Alien, etc., where your body is taken over and you know that you're dead, but you're still alive.
You're right, because we get like the first part of that moment earlier when they're like, "Are you infected? No, you might be infected." And they're like discussing who could possibly like, "Oh, you walked away when the plane crashed. I didn't see you when we like got out of the crash." And then usually that leads to this moment of like what we just said, Joel, where it's like, "Oh no, it is me, but I'm still me. Don't kill me." I would have almost liked that better than Wolverine just stabbing him. It was a cool visual. They're like getting their ass kicked by him. Morph turns into the Alpha Flight's guardian, which I didn't quite understand. Then Deadpool. I'm still a little unsure of Morph's powers, the way they've a
I,
little bit retconned them, right?
he seems to be at times the most powerful mutant. Like on the team with his ability to mimic the powers of these people too. I always thought it was just the visage,
I thought it was
not
Mystique. You like
necessarily,
Mystique. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah,
Mystique, like that there's that scene from the first X-Men movie that's iconic where it's Wolverine, actual Wolverine versus Mystique, and when Logan goes to like you see like okay, you can mimic him, but that ain't adamantium, baby. You
Yeah.
can like so it's like, but when we see Morph, it seems like even if for a brief moment he gets the actual abilities of whoever it is that he's mimicking, and if like that's the case, then like
Because
you
like
might be
then
the most powerful
when
person here.
Morph is Jean, can Morph as Jean use all of her because that's like pretty fucking cool then, right?
Like,
Well,
if
see,
that's the
I'm
case,
wondering if it's connected to concentration
Mm.
and slash confidence because when he turned into magic in season one, he was able to use the sword,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like I was so I'm when it kind of squished, I'm wondering again, it could be too deep, but I'm just like, you're going through his mindset, their mindset in these moments, and kind of just, everything is about in the service of Wolverine. There's a lack of confidence, there's a lack of
That's true,
surety.
yeah.
And I wonder if that's a component. Like, if there's confidence, if it's not being reactive, how Morph can really weaponize the things. And I
Mm.
think with the gene piece, I think that's always in service to trying to show up for him, which is something that Morph is going to do no matter what. I'm interested to see if that ever comes into play after this episode, or to see how Morph navigates the turning into the people that can kind of make him move.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they escape because Omega Red gets out. Because wait, is that what I'm a little confused in my notes here? Is that is yeah, they get out because Omega Red gets out, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Omega Red of it all, I definitely needed Morph to give me the oh, he basically can't die. I like kind of
yeah.
forgot. I was like, what's Omega Red's power other than the like tendrils? And I guess that's one of them. I don't know. I didn't remember that.
Isn't Omega Red like a zombie thingy?
And that's what Morph says. If you would ask me that yesterday, I would have been like, I don't know. He's got the tendril things that come out of his hands, and he's strong.
Was that the character old boy played in the second Iron Man? Was that who he was supposed to be as well?
That was a different character that also has tendrils.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, all right.
They kind of have a fight. Lady Deathstrike is like, this is the real Wolverine. And Joel, I think you mentioned it before. I do think Brood Wolverine looks fucking cool, right? Like, it looked like that comic book cover that's like the famous one where he's screaming, and like, yeah, 9-year-old me would have loved that action figure. Like, I would have really wanted it. What is it? Then they come up with a plan, and I do like that Morph's plan was, I'm gonna mock Wolverine by being Cyclops and just like being like, ooh, I'm gonna smooch Jean. It's so like stupid, but worked right.
Yeah, no, I love there's like a moment where he's sort of marching as Scott with his arms like this. It was a very funny animation.
Yes. Yeah, it was like it kind of broke the tension of the seriousness of them being like, this is the real Wolverine, he doesn't care about anybody. And Morph's kind of like, but we can't leave him. And then is like, I'm gonna do a goofy Cyclops impersonation because we need something funny. And that tracks for Morph, because Morph's character is a little bit more, doesn't take themselves as seriously as the other X-Men. Like, I think it was not even in season 1, they were joking about like, I'm Jean, I'm so dramatic. Like, Morph is kind of, I mean, Morph's the queer one, so of course they're gonna clock the rest of these like straight people. So as Cyclops, I felt so bad when Morph turns back into Morph and is begging Wolverine not to stab them, and then has to turn into Jean. Like, fucking ouch. Oof.
If my situation should make me turn into the other bitch.
Like, I was like, fuck this. In my early 20s, this is me with so many straight guys where it's like, well, we hooked up, but they're not interested in doing anything more. But I'm like, well, now maybe something will happen. And Morph, baby.
It definitely was giving like, if Wolverine ever gave you the time of day, Wolverine's gonna make you turn into Jean. You'd have to be someone you're not. And when it's just traumatizing to even think about. It's like, bro, like, even if you didn't, he's clearly going to envision someone else as you. Like, I just know that shit was just crazy because I mean, and like that was the closest tie-in we got to season 1 in terms of Wolverine was the one who didn't want to leave Morph behind. Wolverine's the only one there, who he maybe to some extent even felt really saw him as part of the team to a certain extent, pouring his heart out like, I'm not leaving. Like, even just all of less than 10 minutes ago, we watched as the people he came there with was like, all right, Wolverine got us on his helicopter because he saw he's expendable. Now he's fighting for his life. Everybody get back on his helicopter. We're taking our asses back home since he got himself in this situation. And the only reason why they're back here is because of Morph. And in record time, that man made you regret that instantly. And the only way that you still got your life intact is to then transform into the other bitch that you have basically tried to get this man to forget. Because she's quite literally married to somebody else and he won't let her go before even giving you the time of day. Like, that shit, that would be the type of thing where I'm texting my friends right now. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, you about to have to bail me out of jail, and I am so sorry. I know we had the conversation, but I'm letting you know I'm going to use my one phone call to get to you, and you need to come and get me. Or drive the getaway car. Those are your options. Like, that's where I would be at.
I wish they had the cojones to really go there with that relationship. And like, I'm thinking of when in the comic books, I believe it's in New X-Men, when Emma and Scott are having a psychic affair and she's constantly transforming into Jean as to sort of, satiate some need that he has. And it would be so fucked up and heartbreaking to see that kind of relationship between Wolverine and Morph, or Morph, in order to have the relationship with Wolverine, has to be turn into Jean for periods of time to sort of like satiate his fantasy of being with Jean.
I was thinking that, Joel, because I was like, I could see them having hooked up, but Morph would be like turned into Jean, and Wolverine would be like, all right, sure. And like, how humiliating that would be for poor Morph.
And correct me if I'm like Wolverine and Jean have never done anything more than like kiss, right? Like the obsession
Correct.
is wild to me. Like I'm like, have y'all watched that movie Obsession that's out?
Mhm.
Hmm.
I kind of I was thinking about that when I was watching him. I'm like, did this lady cast a spell? Did she put a root on him? Like, what is it? Because that's the only thing that can bring you back from the brink, and you ain't even cut cheeks, bro. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, Miss Thing, what are you gonna be like if she really does let you have a piece? How you gonna act?
Right, like I don't think Wolverine he wouldn't know how to do it if Jean was like, okay,
Yeah,
let's date or
I don't
whatever.
think he could perform. Like, I think it
Mm-mm.
would be worse because whatever is connected with this man, I'm just like, that's what I want. I don't care if it's a mini comic or something. They've never dived into the psychology of his connection with this woman and how like not only like weird, kind of toxic and deeply concerning. Uh, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? I'm just like, can we sit in that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, the cartoon actually in whatever season it was, God, I can't remember the name of the two-parter. I loved it as a kid, where Bishop comes and he gets like the Storm and Wolverine from the alt universe and they're dating. That like as a kid, that sold me on Storm and Wolverine. Like I liked them together because I feel like Wolverine seems like he's kind of down for anything, and he like also likes a strong lady. So I liked them, and she was giving him the attention rather than just being like, "Oh, I can't." Um, so I've always kind of liked them together. I don't know. But yes, Wolverine also needs someone like Lady Deathstrike to be like, girl, move on, get it together. It's not happening. Omega Red breaks in again, kind of almost fucks up their plan. I was a little unsure. I was like, I don't understand why Omega Red was there and why he was like mad at all of them and then was like, I'm gonna get the brood and I'm gonna start my own empire. I was unclear like how
It
long
was a
Omega Red
little
had
A
been
to
there.
C. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like missing a step there, especially with his plan. Like, I did not understand his relationship to the Brood or how he thought that plan would
Right?
sort of come together. It was very confusing for me,
Yeah. Ashley?
the whole thing.
Yeah, this felt like it felt like they randomly, for all the like the compliments I have to give to the writing, it felt like they felt like it can't work unless we have a mutant antagonist, which isn't
Yeah,
the
yeah.
case because they just feel sort of random. I mean, I guess maybe they wanted us to see because of the DVDs alluding to like these test subjects that obviously didn't like make it to like the end. Maybe they wanted us to see like the result of or like someone where it didn't go through it. I'm not entirely sure there.
Yeah.
And to everyone's point already, I really don't know what they were trying to do in terms of he has this grand master plan. It just felt like we need to put a random mutant antagonist in this, and all the Magneto's brothers are indisposed at the moment. So
Yeah.
let's use this one. Yeah, it didn't make sense, and like we already kind of had antagonists related to the lab, so I feel like we could have just stuck with that. But
Yeah. Yeah. I would have preferred just sticking with the brood because also I Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth are like usually I don't know, like we
No,
didn't need.
this is we were talking about it, but like in what world are Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth staying behind to save Wolverine? Like
Yes.
no matter what. Like, and that's why I wish they would have like I get it that they needed people to die and they didn't want to waste any like actual heroes on this story where people could die. But like, I don't know, kill off some members of Alpha Flight. Like, give us something believable. Like they're never going to do anything interesting with Aurora and North Star. Like, have them be there. As I don't want that to happen to them, but like, it would make more sense why they were all
Yeah,
still there.
yeah. Or
that is a
even
good
if
point.
you do have them turn on, I wouldn't even necessarily call it turning on him because I'm like, being his ass at this point seems valid. He's the reason why you might die here. So, my 2 cents there would be like, if I'm gonna die here, I'm gonna kill you first. So like, I feel like even that would have made more sense. But yeah, like to your point, like honestly, even that whole little story that Morph did with we can't leave him behind. It's Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah, like they would have been like, yeah, we can. If you want to
Watch
go.
me. Like if you get in my way again, I'll kill you too. Like what are you talking about right now?
But I did like the moment of Wolverine coming back. It was a cool visual. The I'm back, baby, with the claws. As much shit as we're giving Wolverine, and I know that a lot of people, me included, got a little tired of him being the star of the. I still do like Wolverine. Glad to have him
I
back.
like his role now. This is the way it should be. Like, everyone we've said this on multiple episodes, podcasts before, of just like everyone kind of went along with the Hugh Jackman of it
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
And so the animated series, the earlier ones followed everything started to become Wolverine, 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 just because we like this live action one. And I like that finally it's like we get to breathe of like that is where
yeah.
you should be. I love you. You're entertaining. You piss me off sometimes. Sometimes you make me laugh. I do not need to see you as the star of the show for every episode. Absolutely
Yes.
not.
I that is the one thing I will always give this cartoon flowers for. They're really good at not making just one person the center. They're very good at this, where it's like, yeah, we can have an episode that's like Wolverine's backstory, but he's not the main, like they're all the main character, and that's why we like this, because it's like this like big dramatic family, but they all sleep together. Queer chosen family, that tracks. So I did like Morph turning into Spider-Man, and looking just like the 90s animated version. They all escape just barely. We see poor Maverick's dead body. We see the DVDs burning. I guess one assumes Omega Red is fine since we were told he cannot die. Then we kind of talked about it, but we get the end plane ride or helicopter ride home. I do like that Morph. It does feel like we have closed this. Like Morph is done, right? And
As
I
done as somebody in that position will be until he gives them a breadcrumb,
yeah,
and
because they still got to work together.
yeah.
And I just sit with, is it done because it just naturally happened, or are they just like, yo, we gotta kind of close this off? Because I'm on two sides for that. Like, I'm like, if it was just done to close it off, I'm like, this is a natural story that has room to go to another place.
Yeah,
But if this was the aha for Morph, I hope we see it in how Morph shows up going
yeah,
forward. Like, I hope it's not unspoken. I hope it's clear in their energy, their confidence, their presence, and give them another person to holler at that really is interested. Where's is Iceman a homosexual in this one? You know what
Where
I'm
is
saying?
he?
The Butch
Where's
Queens have
Iceman?
Only
started.
hope.
The Butch Queens have started dating the trans girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, give more for a little piece so we can push through.
yeah,
Ironically, for the critique of the Jean Grey moment, it was unfortunately vital. I think that woke
yeah,
them up. I think that woke
yeah,
more up more than even realizing, oh, this man put us on his helicopter to a suicide mission so he could get his claws back. But that moment of you just poured your heart out, and this, brute
Nothing.
Wolverine is still beating your ass after you just poured your heart out. And a split, we barely got Jean Grey's face for a second, and that was enough to make him snap out of it. That was
yeah.
enough. And if that don't wake you up, I don't know. Like it's literally the equivalent of like of the person you think you're trying to do something with calling you another name in bed. It's like
Bitch, it's the equivalent of a man coming in your house, fucking you from the rooftops all through there, kissing you all on your mouth, and by the time he gets to the car, your text messages are turning green because you're blocked. That, bitch, they should have put the better help number at the bottom of the screen at the end of this damn episode. Miss Thing, that was gaggy. It was nasty. Glad, give them their award now.
Dominique, Professor Crawford here gives you an A+ on the fucking metaphor. That was oof, yeah. And I mean, we talked about it, but I do like that Morph is even like, doesn't that make you sad? Because that makes me sad. And I was glad to see that because again, I feel like most of us can relate to liking someone who has no interest in you, but kind of will give you, like I said, Joel, give you a breadcrumb to be like, yeah, but stay. And I was glad to see Morph get to that because when we covered season 1, I can't remember where you landed, Joel, or where you landed, Ashley. A lot of people really hated that Morph liked Wolverine. I liked it because especially that era, it tracks. And that can still happen. But I felt like especially for like, if it was supposed to be like 97, like, whom's
I
the
felt like it
muggles?
tied into Wolverine's sexuality already. I mean, he basically trying to force his way into a fucking throuple with a man and a woman. It's like, it's it's like it made sense to me in terms of like and maybe I was a bit delusional, and then of course wanting this like non-conventional story, and then also with Morph being a trans character, I just was allowing myself to believe that they're going to allow a happy. But then I also should have realized, well, if they're gonna let Morph fall in love with Wolverine of all people, can none of this be happy now, can it? But I do feel like for that like first experience of a bit of a relationship for a mutant in a world that won't allow you
Right.
to fully love, I feel like Wolverine being, I guess you could say, Morph's first in that sense, like it did not only make sense to me, but also even the heartbreak of it all, and it even coming down in a very sad way of,
Yeah.
damn, did this man only like me because of my powers and the fact that I could morph into the woman that he wishes he could have, like that. I think that it was a good thing with that character. I am sad of how it's and not that it's ending. I don't know if I'm a big fan of how it's ending. Um, but I do think I'm a good fan. I'm a big fan of like them picking Wolverine as the character to do it with.
What do y'all think?
I also think it's a semblance, and it's something that I talk about a lot as a Black trans woman. When people folks are, especially when you have a very big online presence, so many people don't discuss enough, in my opinion, that like you're trans is just a component of who you are. And you still have to do that self-development of self. Like you still have to turn yourself into the best version of the adult you want to be. And as you were talking, it's just like Morph can do all of these things, but they couldn't make themselves like confident. Like
Yeah.
they could morph themselves into a space where they could like, divest. You know what I'm saying? And I think that speaks to like you just even with superpowers, you gotta just go through things, which is I feel like the through line through all of this, like Lady Deathstrike, I feel like this is a good chapter closer for her. Like I hope
Yeah.
she should leave this like, girl, you've gone through the change. You didn't kill him when you had the chance, so girl, let that hurt go. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
y'all all had the chance. You know what I'm saying? Like go ahead and let that hurt go, baby. And what's next for yourself? And you can only get those moments by going through the things.
Yeah. 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 You're right. Joel, what did you think of that dynamic?
I mean, I think Ashley and Dominique sort of covered it, especially Dominique. I was really resonating with what you were saying, particularly the Lady Deathstrike piece. Like that, I think sort of buys her being there, like that component especially. But yeah, I guess it just never felt like they gave it enough room to really develop or service in any interesting way. And again, it feels like one of those things that if we had a long season,
Yeah.
that they could really thread the needle there, but it just felt a little flaccid by the end.
Fair. All right. Well, now that we are at the end, favorite scene. Ashley, I'm calling you first.
Um, I guess it's not just this one particular scene, but I did in terms of like there were better moments, but in terms of like the fun for me, watching Morph literally morph into different characters, like it's such a great way that they're utilizing Morph in terms of like
I do get a kick out
getting
of
these
that.
appearances of other Marvel characters from Deadpool to Spider-Man. I believe like last season they let Morph be Psylocke one episode, and now we
Yeah.
actually got Psylocke in this series, in this season. But yeah, so I'm really loving how they utilize Morph and allow us to get these little tidbits of other characters. So like that was the fun part of me fun part for me outside of like having to use Morph to morph into the other woman.
Dominique?
It's really that moment of Morph being gagged, turning. It's just such a rite of passage, and I have never in any. I don't think in any medium. I'm gonna fucking say this. Give me. I don't think in any sort of visual piece of media I've ever seen have I felt like that moment that you experienced that encapsulated in something, and it's crazy that it's animation. Because I was trying
Yeah.
to think with Pose, there were some moments in Pose. I was trying to think of Moonlight, but like just the face, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the gagging of it.
Yeah.
Literally, I've watched that moment over and over and over the last day or two.
Yeah. Dominique, you really have like made me like this episode even more by like reframing
Same,
it that way. Yeah.
same.
Yeah, it's fast.
Joel.
This is like not deep at all. It just stimulated a very specific part of my brain. But there's a scene when they're trying to get Wolverine back into the adamantium chamber, and Lady Deathstrike is up at the control center. And then this horde of broods start to come in, and she just has this little smile. She turns around, and it's literally, you don't even see her do anything, but it felt sort of superfluous in a lot of ways. But it is like a moment specifically to show you this woman is bad fucking ass. Like, she's going to take down all these brood by herself and then show up and keep saving these guys' asses, these people's asses. And yeah, it was again like a moment of like strong female like
You're right, because
character building that, like, as a young gay child, that really is what really, spoke to me.
As why we loved the X-Men. Yeah, no, you're right, because there wasn't a moment where we were like, oh no, she's in danger. It was like, oh, she's fine. Like, she's gonna tear through these aliens and we'll be absolutely fine. For me, it was the Brood Wolverine shit, just because he looked so fucking cool. I liked seeing the like kind of body horror. I'm a horror person, so I'm always gonna like the horror stuff. What was our favorite look for the episode? Dominique, I'm calling you first.
My favorite look in the episode.
Do you want me to come back to you?
I think just Lady Deathstrike's look overall was just, because going to what Joel, I remember the fight in the actual movies, and I feel like everything had to be black and leather and all the things, and we didn't get the colors, and we didn't get the cultural representation that shows up in folks' attire, and I think that was dope to see.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Ashley?
I will say not favorite because it was the best one, but considering Morph's petty comment to it, Sabretooth's like fur and with his thighs out and all types of like Morph. If you want, I literally, I think, I don't know if I said it earlier when we were recording or before, but I'm like, if you want something animalistic, that's it right there, baby. I don't know what we doing. You
And
just
like,
caught up on this one.
I feel like Sabretooth lays it down. Like
Okay, sorry, Sabretooth looked like he carrying something, and you need to go find out what it
Get your
is.
set. I all honor and care to the OnlyFans girlies. Love the children. But I'm old enough to remember when these studios used to do parodies of comic books and stuff. And and I'm like, bitch, what, I need that, or I need somebody with a nasty budget to do it, because I'm just like, that it's you, sister. Yes, ma'am. I had to go with what I did, but
You know what? I think creating that porn is maybe the only ethical use of AI I can think of. Plug it in and give me Sabretooth and Wolverine. Give me some of that slash fic. Yeah.
Joel, did I ask you your favorite outfit yet?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, my answer is the same as Dominique. I think Lady Deathstrike is the only one who's serving a look, like, in the traditional sense. So, yeah, she's it for me.
I have a stupid answer because I like how ridiculous it is. I loved Kane's stupid outfit. It's so stupid and like so 90s extreme comic that I loved that it fully channeled all that. And we weren't gonna like shy away from the ridiculousness of like, sure, he has armored arms and then a red like collared shirt with a turtleneck underneath and like gray pants and red boots that look good. So I liked the way, and it was just nice seeing him on screen. I don't know. What grade do we give this episode, Dr. Smalls?
I'm an easy grader, as my students will confirm. So I'm gonna give it. I mean, I feel like it's more valid for me to give it a solid B, but I think I'll give it a B plus.
Okay, all right. Joel.
I am maybe not as an easy grader as Ashley is, so I'm going to give it a B minus.
Okay. Ooh. Dominique.
I'm gonna give it an A minus. I'm looking at the cultural significance, and the speed. If they would have gave this wrong, bitch,
Yeah, I agree.
filthy,
This could have been a cool two-parter, I think.
nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of y'all. I give it a flat B. Same reasons. And again, talking about it, I think I liked it more. Like I could appreciate.
I'm grading on the curve of the entire series too. Like it's
Yeah.
only a B minus in comparison to some of the really amazing work that they have done up until this point, especially
Yeah.
this season.
That is very
And
valid.
so like taking it on its own, I think it is better than a lot of what we have gotten in
And I
media.
think it's almost unfair this episode coming after the huge emotional beat of last week of like in season 1 coming off of Gambit's death, it felt like the funeral eased us into the next beat, but here it was like they're not going to have a big funeral for Magneto. Xavier's the only one that's crying about that in the X-Men. The rest of them are probably like good. And so we couldn't really get the easing into it. And I feel like it was almost unfair to this episode, whoever wrote this one in particular, because I saw a lot of people not liking this online. And I don't think it's bad at all.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad, but maybe people have a bit of a chip on their shoulder because they wanted a continuation of, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously a very significant character, and instead it was like, we're gonna go into this story. So
Yeah.
maybe that's it, because it wasn't a bad episode. But
Yeah. Dominique, what would you like to see moving forward? What's something you want to see from the show?
I absolutely want the character development of Morph to continue. Like, if we've brought them out of this, what does this look like? I absolutely want to figure out what y'all doing with Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Y'all have made him so uber powered and given him that ant line. My God, like, so what do you know what I'm saying? So I really want to know what's next, and I hope it's quality. I hope they didn't bust their load too quickly, for lack of a better term. And I really want to see what happens with this converse. Like, are we gonna do something with Rachel Summers? Was it just a sprinkle?
Yeah.
Are you gonna make us wait forever? Because I think that's super interesting. I saw a lot of people who didn't even capture that last episode, in that arc, and that's something that could really be dope.
Yeah. Joel?
Kitty Pryde. I would love to see
she was
her
on that
show
board.
up.
I thought we were going to
I know,
get her.
and it's so crazy to me that they haven't given her something to do. I would and also more sort of ripping directly from some of these amazing comic book runs that they have access to. Like, speaking of Kitty Pryde, like I would love to see some Astonishing X-Men in there, which I believe was written by no one.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, but still one of the great, I think, arcs in X-Men comics. And so I would love to see, some more referential moments that nod to those comic book arcs.
Really hate that no one also wrote like two of my favorite X-Men and Buffy, my favorite things, and it's like, fucking damn it. But yes, no, I agree with you. Ashley, how about you?
You mean only like out of this episode or overall?
No, just in the show.
Always more Storm. I
Yeah.
need that at all times. So we gotta leave with that.
That moment of her like using the cosmos has been like in my brain.
I also love she has her own theme music within the theme music. Like, we got it when Scott did the give him the forecast.
Yeah.
And then we got it the first, like, they know what the people want to see. First episode, let's make sure we give her Supergirl her moment. And I need more of that. Unfortunately, if they do what they did with season 1, they give it to us that first episode, and we're not going to get it again to like the last 2 episodes. So I'm like, give me my girl. Like, that's literally why I'm here. Y'all don't understand. This is why this is why I'm here. Okay. But outside of that, I don't want them to drop this storyline with Morph. Like, it's been a very interesting way to look at love through Morph's eyes that like is been a step away from like the Jean and Cyclops of it all, and like,
because that's like a little like whatever,
and then even with Forge and Storm, which of course I love them, but it's like, the whole point of this storyline is like, this world is, what does it mean to basically be able to love, like, as I said earlier, in a world that really won't allow you to. And like, so it's like, even though we know that these mutant couples still have their own, they have so much that they still have to fight against because of society, Morph is in this very particular situation that they don't have to be in. I think that we started to see a bit here.
Yeah.
And so I would like for them to still explore that possibly with another character. I don't know, like Dominique said earlier, where Iceman at? You know, what's Iceman up to? But somebody, I do want to see them still explore a love storyline with Morph somehow, some way.
Spoiler, but I think in one of the trailers there's like a monument to all the people that died in Genosha and Iceman's picture. I saw people saying that like Iceman is on that board of
You
like
see what
people
they
that
do to a
died.
bad bitch.
I know, I know. All right, well, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on all social platforms at SlayerFestX98. You can watch our recordings on YouTube because every recording is a video recording. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you get your podcasts. If you want to support us, we are on Patreon. We have X-Men the Animated Series from the original episodes going out while we're covering 97. And we have Batman the Animated Series as well. We cover every episode of Buffy as it turns 25. We closed out season 5. And if you want to follow me, I am at Ian X Carlos. Ashley, where can everyone find you?
Ashley K Smalls everywhere. I am mostly on Threads. If you want to yell at me, then I'm on Twitter. And I'm active on TikTok and Instagram. Again, though, if you got a problem with me, please feel free to we can talk on Twitter. That's definitely me on there.
Joel, where can everyone find you?
I'm mostly only on Instagram these days, and I occasionally check in on TikTok, but quite honestly, what goes on TikTok is none of my business. But it's I hate Joel Kim is the handle, pretty much any social media platform you want to follow me on.
And Dominique.
At THE Dominique Morgan, all platforms.
We love a consistency with a brand. All right, everybody. Well, we will see you next time. Bye.